Quickly go. Wait. Yeah. Okay, looks like she's somewhere else for a bit. She'll be back soon.
Huh?
No, it's just that you was away for a bit, so I was just gonna wait until you come back.
Okay. I am going to send your homework assignment tomorrow afternoon. I didn't log on today because I came on, but I probably didn't come on at a good time, but I did email you. However, I got your assignment. I'm gonna review it tomorrow. I'm gonna create you an assignment. I'm gonna actually give you 10 more words. I'm gonna give you 10 words tomorrow. Um, and then tonight I'm gonna speak with your dad about the assignment that I'm gonna create for you. But I know that 10 words will be the start. And then we can go from there. That way I can give you I'm gonna enhance it a little bit for you today. Did you go to the center today?
Yeah,
How was it?
good.
That's good. That's real good.
Mhm.
That's good. I got 10 words.
Hold on. Let me pause this real quick. Maybe. Oh, we got
Your dad woke?
Yep, here I am.
Okay.
What's happening?
Hey, how are you doing?
I ended up napping late, so I'm
I
like,
figured I figured it. He said he had to go and get you. He was like, "Let me go wake my dad up." So I spoke to Jaden. I told him earlier probably was bad timing when I had message because I had came on. I know I stayed on there for maybe like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes today. And then I was like, well, maybe they're busy. But I'm going to enhance it to 10 words. And within those 10 words, I'm going to put the definition down. And then he can write each word 10 times each. And then you were thinking of maybe like him doing drawings for each word in like a sentence format, or like what was your thinking of?
um, so, you were talking about having him do sentences, right?
Yes.
So, um, same thing. It could be sentences,
Okay.
but I want to say, let me think about it. I think it was.
Like drawing like a small picture after each sentence to reflect on the word.
I can't remember the detail.
I know
Can't
you.
remember.
I know from what I can think of. You said write a sentence, and then he'll draw like a small picture after each sentence to go that will help him think of reminding him of the definition of the word. Something in that scenario.
Okay, so it was about. So he got the word.
Mm-hmm.
So he got to make a picture anyway for the word.
Okay.
Um, um, yeah, I don't remember. I can't remember. We just keep it simple. Uh,
Okay.
just have him write sentences with the words. I mean, he's got to do a picture anyway, so just have him write a sentence with it.
Okay. So I have him 10 times each, write sentences. and then draw a picture. And then I will have, since I'm doing it tomorrow, I will set that for it to be by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, next Tuesday. That way that'll give him time to reflect on the words. To review words for the upcoming quiz in 2 weeks. Okay. I didn't want to make his, I didn't want to create his assignment without generally talking to you and him first.
Okay.
So I got that out the way for him. And then that's what I'll do. I'll just create him enough words for weekly assignments since he's doing drawings along with it. We could typically do that. But I got my notes for followership.
Cool.
And also with followership, what I wrote was how to improve your leadership skills too.
Okay.
But with my followership, I wanted to go over the qualities, and I was just going to read through those 7 qualities. And what are the qualities of a good follower? The first one will be motivation. A good follower is motivated to work hard, do a good job, and achieve results. This type of person is driven by the goal of finishing a job. Courage. Second one. Someone with followership skills has the courage to confront their leader with the problems they see with the person in charge. Third one, service. A follower must see themselves as someone who serves others rather than the priority or the reason something is happening. Fourth one, dedication. A good follower is dedicated to their leader. A follower can be loyal and committed to their leader while maintaining judgment and honesty. And when I think of dedication, I think of the vision, being dedicated to the vision. Whereas when we spoke about leader, it's like you're being dedicated to an individual. To me, I think more of the vision is what sits with me. The fifth one,
in the way that it just read, it sounded like it was dedicated to like the leader there.
Yeah, like a person. And see, with me, that don't sit well because I'm thinking of a vision. Okay. Work ethic. Someone who is a good follower is also a good worker. This person is motivated and committed and pays attention to the details of the business. This person shows up every day ready to work. Sixth one, good judgment. It is important for a follower to take direction, but they must consider what is being asked of them to have good judgment. A person must understand the difference between following directions and knowing which instructions are not ethical. That person must be able to say no to something. Seventh one, honesty. As a follower, one makes a commitment to be honest. A follower must understand that while being honest, they also must be polite and respect the people they work with. A follower must be able to provide constructive feedback. And the one that really sticks out to me the most, well, the two, is dedication and good judgment. And I feel like everything else will kind of follow along with that. But with dedication, my perspective is more of a vision than rather an individual. Because if you're looking up to that individual, it's like, what if they go off track? Will the follower go off track as well?
Right.
It's like, it's a a win-lose situation with that one. For me, it is. And that's just my personal opinion. Which one really sticks out to you the most?
Let's see. Can you read what you got for motivation again?
Mm-hmm. A good follower is motivated to work hard, do a good job, and achieve results. This type of person is driven by the goal of finishing a job.
Okay. So I like motivation and I like service.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I like work ethic too, but I like motivation and I like service the most. And if I had to pick, read service again?
Service. A follower must see themselves as someone who serves others rather than the priority or the reason something is happening.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I like service. I like motivation and I like service. I mean, I guess they're all important, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're all good character traits of a good follower. But I like the idea of having individuals be internally motivated, in what they call intrinsically motivated,
Mm-hmm.
motivated by their own self, by their own insides. Um, and then it seems to me that if you're going to be in that position, you should be service oriented anyway.
Right. Like that's just to me, like that's just something that's just come on top. And that's why when I think of dedication and I think of good judgment, like service, courage, motivation to me fall under dedication. It's like to me, that's all wrapped up in there. And that's just my view of how I see it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Now, can you read courage again?
Sure. Courage. Someone with followership skills has the courage to confront their leader with the problems they see with the person in charge.
Okay, that's an important one too. Because
Okay.
that's the only one that kind of like checks the leader, like a checks and balance.
Like yeah, like to be able to resolve like issues or being able to just be open about what's on your mind about maybe a situation that's going on or it didn't happen. And many times in scenarios or workplaces or anything like that, you have everyone, but not everyone is good at going to sit down with the leader and speaking to them one on one and having a constructive feedback conversation and be able to respond with, their beliefs, their thoughts and stuff. Not everyone is able to do that.
No, you're right.
It's
Mhm.
like in some workplaces, you have like maybe like one or two individuals that all the workers know that if they go speak to that person, they know that that person will be able to relay something to the leader or be able to talk to them, which I've noticed that in the past in different workplaces. I don't know you quite sure because like have you ever had it to like okay, like say like when you were youth bill, right? You were the assistant program director. Did you have like the same individuals, couple individuals that will come to you and speak to you about just situations overall on the program, or did like just any and everyone felt comfortable to speak to you?
Um, Let me think if I remember correctly. So there were different times that we had different leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, um, our first lead, our first main director, um, he was a bit challenging to work with, but me and him got along really well because
Mm-hmm.
I had the student mentality,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to follow instructions, etc. Some people, I guess, some people were challenged. Some people found it difficult to work for him
Mm-hmm.
because of his leadership style. He did, I guess, micromanage. Um, but I thought that he was very practical and like, you know, he just wanted to make sure that whenever you were doing something, you knew why you were doing it. So if you were going to do something, then you should be able to explain why you're doing what you're doing. And then that was a bit challenging for some people to figure out. So then in the beginning, or once I kind of found my way, um, I feel like I used to help some staff be able to better communicate with him. So they would kind of go through me, like I would help them write the email just so that they could more clearly communicate with him. Um, you know, and without, because I guess you know he was really good at picking up at people's lack of clarity through their email, because he liked to communicate through email. And I mean, I learned so much because I had, you know, I spent a lot of time trying to be very precise about how I communicated about what it was I was doing. Because to the degree that I was not precise, then I would have to have an answer when he would find some inconsistency or when he would find a weakness in my communication. So for a long time, I would kind of be that middle person um, with staff that needed to communicate with the main director. And then afterwards, let me see. And then afterwards, we had like an inactive director where I pretty much, from what I remember, was solving most of the issues. And I think they would just run it through me. But I don't really remember exactly. Um, but I think I got a lot of experience having to solve issues because they would go through me really. Maybe not my first year because my first year I was still working. I was just learning. But once my I would call him my mentor if you want to use that word. Once one of my coworkers who gave me a lot of attention because you know I was in the program and he was the assistant program manager in the beginning. Um, Once he moved on to a different role and like once he left, then that left me with much more responsibility, but I was already well prepared to be able to handle it. And then I would be that middle person between staff and the director.
Okay. But you said now, did you find out like when you had to when he liked to communicate through email? Was it just because he was busy, or was it like that's
Yeah.
just how he was?
Nah, he was very busy because our program was just one program that fell under his department within the housing authority.
Got you.
So, you know, it was easy. It was much easier for him to communicate through email.
Got you.
Because
And
he had a lot going on.
you basically like just kind of was like the one that was in charge then. Like
Not right in the beginning, but shortly after, because when I got hired on, I was hired on, but I was still under the wing of one of the other staff member. I was under his wing until he left, and I think he was maybe there for maybe 2 years. But I learned a lot from him. So you know, just paying attention, and you know, just paying attention and then learning on the go. I was able to pick up on how to best communicate with the director or the program manager. And then once he left, then I was pretty much the next person in charge because I kind of took over his role, and then he was the one that did the day to day. But the reason it was easier for them to let me have that kind of responsibility was because the individual that was there before really prepared me. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, he was very. I mean, I remember saying, I wish I had his skills. Like I used to admire him, and I do admire him. But I mean, Mr. Watson is his name. Mr. Watson, like he's just so he's a teacher by trade, and he became the assistant program. He was the assistant program manager when I got first hired on. But he's so
Mhm.
smooth, like he's so good. I just felt like he always knew what to say. He think on the he could think on the go. And I remember saying, "Man, I wish I had skills like that." So I would pay close attention to him, and he was like I could say the best teacher in that um he he didn't tell me how to think. He didn't tell me what to think. He asked me questions that caused me to think and then solve and
Mhm.
discover myself. And so I think he played a key role. So I learned a lot from him, but he was the one that was mainly running the program. But then after he left, um, I was in a position where I was like the senior person, the person that was kind of there the longest.
Mhm.
And then, we had we had Mr. We had another teacher too, construction trainer that I learned. I learned specific things from specific individuals within the program.
Mhm.
Like, so I don't want to say that I learned more from one than the other, but I had like
Mhm.
what I learned with Mr. Lowry, that was the director. What I learned from him has been instrumental in who I am today because I had to be sharp in how I communicated. So
Mhm.
and then he was so good at paying attention to detail. I mean, I learned so much from all of them. I learned from all of them. However, I was coached well to be prepared to do the job.
Mhm.
And a lot of that is because of my relationship with Mr. Watson, Mr. Watson was the one who ran the day-to-day operations, who I learned from, like in live and living color. And then Mr. Lowry, I basically learned how to prepare, how to run a program. So Mr. Lowry made sure, like, I needed a calendar, I needed the people that were gonna be um, coming in to give lessons. Like I needed everything ahead of time, and I need to be able to justify why. Um,
Mhm.
so he helped me be able to like think into the future as to what needs to happen, and then how to think about it. Um, and then Mr. Watson helped me a lot with the day to day, like how to actually handle conflict within the program, how to run the day to day operations.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
That's pretty dope though.
yeah, I mean, I
To
think
be able to
I
learn from like different people, and that's kind of like the initiative that I take.
Mhm.
It's like learning different things from different individuals in the office and stuff. And like me, I pretty much just sit back and I watch and I observe. A lot of my stuff is done by observe. And even like when I'm in meetings and stuff, I'll just sit back and I'll listen until like I'm spoken to and I'll speak up because I'm looking at it from like a student mindset. So I'm kind of thinking that way, whether it's just coming in is like I'm one of them. I kind of still have my student cap on, so it's like I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? So I understand exactly where you're coming from when you're saying that.
Yeah. Now, one of the challenges was that then I was very young. So then even over time, my coworkers were older than me. And I think that I remember having thoughts about, feeling like because of my age, my input wasn't all the way 100 received.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was true, like not just at the program, but whenever I went to do consulting. Um, I felt like if people were judging me based on my age, um, like maybe I was like what 20. I got hired by the pro. I went through the program at 24, and then um, I got hired as
You went
staff
in,
at
did you
20.
know that you were gonna be going to
No,
did you know that you'll be going to college or that just kind of happened?
so I went to college straight out of high school. So I had a high
Mm-hmm.
school diploma, and I went to college but I dropped out of college after like a year and a half. So when I entered the program, I had already had some college, and my education component during the youth field program was to go back to college. So I did a whole semester of college while I was on the youth field program. That worked out really well. So yeah, that was my education component. I spent most of my time in construction, and then my education component was my college classes that I was taking. So yeah. Now, when I went into the program, I didn't know that I was going to work for the program. The goal was to go into construction. That was like a last minute decision, because I had the option of working at the program or working for a construction company that we used to partner with. And I ended up choosing working at the youth field program, which was probably like, it was a crossroad decision. Like, I would have probably been living a completely different life had I made the other choice. Because if I would have gotten into construction, then I would have never really been into like social work. It would have been a completely different path. It would have been a completely different path.
But like, that's like me, like now, like I know what I want to go in for, like my associate's general studies, like I know that. And then when I go for my bachelor's degree, I want to major in education, because I feel like with education, I can do a wide range of things with that. And I really thought deeply about it, because I can create curriculums, like for GED students within the youth build. I can do a lot of different things with it. I can teach, it just all depends on the setting that I'm in. But that's like my ultimate goal, to do that as well. And I think like with me on the side, like in my free time, with me writing my book and stuff like that, of course, like me speaking probably at events and doing things like that and stuff, that would kind of roll in, with myself on the outside. But like far as my career, like that's what I really want to do, because it's a lot of online school going on right now. And that's something that's real popular, and it's getting even more popular. Online schooling is like really super getting more. And then since COVID hit, it's like everybody didn't adjust it to online, working online. You know what I mean? Meetings online. Like, it's a lot of stuff that's being adjusted. And I think that eventually COVID will kind of pass over, but the way that stuff's so set up now, I don't think it's just gonna disappear like that.
Yeah. Right. I believe there's going to be a lot of changes once this COVID thing. Well, I don't even want to say passes over. It's hard to imagine what it means.
Right, like it ain't gonna pass over, but it might like die down a little bit. But it's not gonna be something that's just gonna just disappear. It's not gonna be like that. Like it's gonna forever be different, but it's gonna come to a state where it's comfortable. Well, not comfortable for everyone, but like to a stage where like it's calm and it's at a steady rate, I would say.
What I could say that a lot of people maybe are not expecting is that college isn't going to be the same. Meaning like
college is not gonna never be the same.
Well, but this is where I'm going with it. Like, people are not going to respect college as much as they did before COVID. Like, college is a brand, meaning college was sold to America as a tool for people to get out of poverty, as a tool for people to be able to reach the American dream. And it's not delivering at the moment. And that's controversial. A lot of people don't agree with that. But what I mean by that is people are going to have to make a decision, or people are making decisions as to whether they're going to invest in college or invest in a business. And after this COVID thing, I mean, we're already seeing jobs are not so available anymore. Like everything's going to technology. So unemployment is going to be going up, and college isn't necessarily, like, whether you have a degree or not, isn't necessarily going to guarantee you get a job. So people are gonna have to make a choice as to whether they're gonna go to work or go to school.
Mhm.
And then, you know, people are gonna have to think about whether they like the way that colleges get paid is it's like people are not gonna want to leave with debt if it doesn't mean you get a job. Like if people are realizing that college is not associated with getting a job, people are gonna be rethinking it. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that colleges got to face is that who's gonna want to pay $40,000 a year to go to virtual school? You know, like who's gonna like what does Harvard mean when you ain't going to Harvard? When you're meeting your teacher like online. You know what I mean? Like that's a big shift because why would you pay so much money? You know, when there's so much free education online. Like I'm not sure if you're familiar with MIT. Massachusetts Institute of Technology is like one of the best schools for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And they put all their courses online. Maybe not all of them, but they have, as far as I know, they do put all of them. But I may be wrong when I say that. But they have a lot of their courses online where you can take for free. You won't get a degree from them, but you'll learn the material. And as we move into a place where it's your skills that matter, not necessarily your college degree, you know, a lot of people are gonna choose not to go, especially if you got to pay so much, like, or they're gonna have to change how much it costs. Like, if most people are doing online, it doesn't seem fair that it costs the same amount of money to take classes online as it is to take it in a building.
That's true.
The cost of
I think
college gotta go down.
like the school I'm going to, it's a little cheaper, but then my situation is like totally different. I'm currently a student. I did, you know, work for the newspaper, and then also I'm a full-time AmeriCorps member. You know what I mean? Over with the other campus that's associated with our school. So I'm like I'm a staff member too. You know what I mean? Like it's totally different. And then like with my educational award that I'm using, I am comfortable with online classes because I am already in the setting where I want where my career is going to be at, everything, you know what I mean? So it's like once I get my schooling and my degree, will I move to a different position? I probably will have a different position depending on like what's the opening once I graduate. But I plan to stay where I'm at for the time being, because these are the individuals that I choose to have my career with. And a lot of individuals, like you said, are they promised a job once they get out of their degree, and that is totally when networking comes involved when you're in school. You know, and a lot of people, they don't really know nothing about that, but it's good to network and be a part of different things and stuff, and you know, get to know different people and do different things, become a student worker and stuff, because that will set you out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important, and you clearly you have the personality that you're going to be able to adapt, but that's not the case for most of the people that go to school. And when you're doing school fully online, it's very challenging to network, because you're just going like you go, you do your work, and then you go back to living your own life.
You gotta have a lot of self-discipline too.
Right. And the thing too is like, if a college right now has 100 staff, and you know they have more, I'm just saying a number, they're gonna be cutting that down to 50 staff, 30 staff, because they're not gonna have so much people on campus like they had.
That's
before.
true, because they did that in the beginning of COVID at my school.
Yeah, like
they cut it.
These companies are getting used to working with less people. It's not going back to normal. Like they may hire a little bit more in the beginning, but then they're gonna get rid of people. Like college is like bookstores. You know, Amazon put bookstores out of business. So college is about to go out of business. Like you're gonna have to be able to prove that your institution has a value. And if you can't prove that it has a value, then you're not gonna be able to have customers. And at the moment, like this next generation is learning that it doesn't have the value that it used to have.
I think the learning format is going to be totally different. Far as enrollment and things like that, I'm not exactly like for sure how that's gonna go. But I know, for me, my preference is online schooling. That's what I prefer. Um, that's just my preference. I'm down with the online schooling for me. Will that work for any and everybody? Oh no, some people have to be in a classroom. I've had people tell me that recently, like I had classes with when I had my college course classes, those are the ones that have told me like they're waiting on it to get back regular, which will it go back regular? I don't know, but they don't even care about because it's not in class no more. They don't care. Only thing that's really in class is like the hands-on products.
I guess all I'm saying is that where where college was an important decision for families and their children, like that's not going to necessarily be the same moving forward. Like
Mm-hmm.
college, and I may sound pessimistic about saying it, but
Mm-hmm.
people go to college so that they can get a piece of paper. And we're moving into a time where this new generation don't care about that piece of paper. Like our generation, our parents care about the piece of paper, but the kids don't care about a piece of paper. And the only kids that do care about the piece of paper are the kids that are getting pressure from their parents to get that piece of paper. So
Mm-hmm.
those kids are going to continue to go to school, and then they're going to have resentment when they graduate school and they got these loans they got to pay. Now, granted, someone like you and other students may find that they have ways of paying for college,
Mm-hmm.
because they got government subsidies like the Pell Grant or scholarships or whatever, or programs like AmeriCorps that give education awards. But that's only a small percentage of students that are getting like these kind of scholarships. Most are having to take out some sort of loan.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are taking these loans and
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt you, but basically, like where I'm getting at what you're saying is that the students have to take out these big portions of loans and stuff. At the end, is it worth it? Because they're going to be left with so much debt, and then they not even promised like to go into their career. Is that kind of like?
yeah, yeah. And but the thing is that it's a I'm surprised that people haven't made the connection sooner. Like I went to school forever, so I'm not speaking like I'm making it up. School, like all the way through, the great majority were just doing it to get a piece of paper. Like they're not so interested in exactly what it is that they're learning. They're doing just enough to pass the classes. Now, granted, you have some that are achievers, right? That are trying to go above and beyond, and they got their goals. And a lot of them are just doing it because their parents, they feel pressure from their parents. And then what I'm saying is, like with my kid, I'm not pushing college on my children, not at all. And I rather as a parent, because like if you're a parent, like if your son tries to go to college, they're gonna make you take out a loan for him. Are you aware of that? Like if he doesn't have a scholarship, then the
Mm-hmm.
parents take out loans in
Mm,
addition to whatever the students take out. Like
mm,
that's part of it. So parents are on the hook to get their kids educated if they want to go to college, and their kids don't have like scholarships to pay for it. So as a parent, I rather take 20, 40, $60,000 and buy him a house.
mm,
Put it into a down payment into a house, or into a down payment into a business, than putting it into college. Because I know how many people went to college and they're not working in their career. Then they dropped out and they just got school loans left. So it's something that I think give it a couple years. It's 2021. I mean, I don't believe that it's gonna recover from COVID. Like college is gonna have to and then with college sports taking a big hit, like the NFL's taking a big hit, basketball's taking a big hit. If these sports don't recover, that's a big way out how colleges make money, is through college sports. So then if people aren't going on campus to go to games, that's how they make a lot of their money, and they're not getting donations from the alumni because the alumni usually are donating, you know, to try to get sports up and going, because that's how a lot of schools collect money. Like the game is over. I mean, the colleges are gonna have to adapt, and that means they're gonna have to provide a value more than just a piece of paper. And I don't know how they're gonna be able to do. They're gonna have to compete with the open market. Like, what do you know? Unless they get the government to just make college free, and that's probably what they're gonna try to talk about, is make college free, which then all that means is like high school. It's gonna be like, instead of young people, you know, finishing high school to be done and being able to get a job, it's gonna be expected that people go through college just to get a job. But it doesn't mean that they're gonna learn anymore. Like when I was working on my doctorate, it was already happening. Like we had teachers who were getting pressure to pass kids who didn't deserve to pass, kids that were cheating, kids that were plagiarizing, and they'd run these you know, how the teachers have homework, and then they'll run these assignments through these software that can detect if the student's been plagiarizing, and these softwares would detect high levels of plagiarism, and the teachers are having to pass these kids because they have to pass a certain number of kids because they can't just fail them, you know, because if they fail them, then
it'll come back on them, won't it?
Well, then who? If you're a school, do you want to be the cause for failing a bunch of students? Like, you know, you want your students to be passing, because if then
it shows
they
that
start
you're
failing,
doing. It shows like your rate too. If your students are passing, it shows like your output of what you.
Yeah, and the thing is, if students aren't passing, then they're dropping out. You know, and then that's business, because the students represent money. You know, so. And if you have a lot of students that aren't taking college serious, then it's like high school. And then that's what's going to end up happening. They're going to end up having to try to make college free. But then can the government afford to pay for college for everyone? That's going to be a whole other art. That's going to be like universal healthcare, a whole big conversation about it. You know, you got the people that do not agree with universal healthcare, and then you got the people that agree with it. So there's going to be a big conversation about, like right now, they're talking about loan forgiveness already. It's moving in that direction. So all I'm saying is, as someone, I got caught off guard in 2008 with the recession or whatever you want to call it, that hit in 2008 when the housing market crashed. Well, I started to try to pay attention to where things were headed. And this college thing is a problem. You know, it's a problem that, where are we headed with it? If you got people that are complaining about high levels of debt, the people, just because you got an education doesn't guarantee you to get a job, and it takes 4 years to get a degree. Why would you invest that time in a business? You know, and then are the colleges even preparing you for the jobs of the future? Like, who wants to take history class? Like, you could do history class on your own. Like, you don't need a teacher to. And then, like, for instance, all the books that you're reading, when you go to college, what you have is a teacher who gives you books to read. And then you read the books, and then you do some work to show that you read the books, you know, and then they have creative ways of making you, like, you know, they'll make you write essays, or they'll make you do quizzes, or they'll make you do group activities. Like, why would you pay for that when you can go to the library and get your own books? You know, when you can do up-to-date research with people that, like, I'll say YouTube, for instance. Like, why would you want to go learn marketing from a marketing book when you got people right now who are doing marketing in real life that can tell you how to market right now in 2021, not some book.
There's a lot of stuff that's changed.
Yeah, so school hasn't been able to keep up with the changes, and then now we're in the information age when all this information is available. It's like, why?
Like, if someone has a teacher and the teacher been teaching for 22 years, that teacher is not up to date with the teaching. I'm sorry, but that's just my
right. Right. So I mean, all I'm saying is that, and this is a controversial statement, and it's controversial. Like for instance, I don't want to push college on the people I work with, on the
Mm-hmm.
young people. It's a waste. And then that sounds harsh, but then let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if now if it's
Well,
like
to
high
me,
school.
I have a different perspective. Like for me, my situation, I worked ever since I was 14 all the way up. So now with my background of me and all the work that I've done and the years that I've worked and stuff, and my resume and skills that I have, me with a college degree is going to help me
You know,
for the career that I'm going in.
all I'm saying is the future is different than what it is right now.
Of
We're
course.
moving into a completely different future, and our parents have pushed college. Our parents and older folk had, even at my job now, like they put education on a pedestal. Education isn't delivering like it did 10 years ago. Like things are changing. Like this, kids don't want to go to school. Kids don't want to go to school, especially after this COVID thing. Like a lot of children are getting turned off about school. And then, like I said, the ones that do want to go to school are the ones that are getting high pressure from their parents, to get a college education. But what job you gonna get? Everything's getting computerized. Like what jobs are gonna be available? You see, like they're coming out with automatic transportation. That's like 4 million jobs of truckers. That's going out the window. At all these fast food places, like automation, like you can go push buttons to get your order. Those are all jobs that are going out the window. Think about Walmart, when you can, like, you're gonna be able to go into a Walmart and not even have to see workers. They're eventually, like, how we got, like, you stocking shelves. It's
Like
gonna look like,
robots or something.
and for now, from now till the robots come, it's gonna seem, no, it'll be delivered anyway. Everything's gonna turn into warehouses. Like like Walmart is gonna be like a warehouse, like Costco, like BJ's, and then people, it's gonna be like old fashioned. So how, okay, I never like to go through the drive-through. I used to want to always go in. And then Betsy always wanted to go through the drive-through. I was like, the drive-through was whack. Like, I'd rather go in and talk to the person and see what I want. Everybody started, now drive-through is like, go to Chick-fil-A, you wrap around. I was in the Chick-fil-A line for like an hour the other day just to get some fries.
They fries be good though. They fries be good.
Well, not even for me. It was Betsy was trying to get it for her and for the children, because they eat fries there. And I was like, how did you talk me into being in this line for an hour? Like, I got distracted talking. But people aren't going in the building as much anymore. So it's gonna be old fashioned to go to Chick-fil-A. It's gonna get delivered to you. You see what I'm saying? And then not by a human, but by an automated driving car that then you walk outside and then you can go get your food from. Like, the world is changing. The robots are going to be able to do everything. Like mail, they could have automated drones deliver mail. Like, everything's changing. So what I'm saying is, what jobs? College is going to prepare people for what jobs? You see what I'm saying? Like, now granted, I'm talking about 10 years out, not even, maybe 5 to 10 years out. But my point is what jobs? Like libraries, they're giving at the college there's a college down the road. They're giving out all their books. Maybe not all of them, but they're giving out a huge portion of their books. I would love to get some, but then I don't really have nowhere to put it. People are doing away with books. Like, I think that's a huge.
Is that like a local library, or?
This is happening everywhere. They were burning books in the beginning of COVID, because supposedly COVID. So the whole book industry is going to be leaving.
Because the reason why I say I believe you is because, like, when I returned my library books, and my grandfather got on me about this the other day, he said, when you get your books, Even though, because I said they've been quarantined for 7 days because the library keep them. That's why it takes so long for me to get them. But my grandfather was like, make sure you wipe it down with hand sanitizer and blah, 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 skippity, and wash your hands before and after. But I'm like, wow.
Yeah, but can you really get COVID from a book?
You know, I just let my grandfather talk.
I know, but this is the thing that's happening. Like, it's like, all right, listen, I get it that people don't want books no more, which I think is a mistake. I think we should keep.
I think that's a big ass mistake because baby COVID ain't gonna stop these eyes from reading.
But
if
then,
if I get COVID from reading a book, Lord forbid me.
Nah, don't say that. You won't. COVID, how you gonna get COVID from a book? Then we better stop.
Look, with my professional development, I'm gonna put down in the note, me and Julian discussing facilitation of
Jaden. So this is an important
That's
question.
serious though, like, come on now, like.
So this is an important conversation that we're having, and I wish I could have it more with some of my employees, but I don't think that we have the relationship to be able to have that at the moment.
Like an open conversation.
And I kind of did start talking about it already, but not as in depth as I'm going in with you. College is not preparing young people for future jobs. Like, who wants to go to college to learn business from a professor that hasn't been practicing business? Like, who wants to go to learn about African studies when you can go learn it online from the people themselves, not some teacher who's trying to read off of a book and is giving you a lopsided perspective on what Africa, like they're trying to teach hip hop in college. Hip hop in college at a you're gonna go learn hip hop at a university from someone who studied hip hop. It's like Egyptology. Like, you know, we're learning about Egypt from non-Egyptians. So we're gonna be learning about hip hop from non-hip hoppers when you can learn from a hip hopper himself or herself.
That's true.
But my point is like, what jobs you think? Doctors. Who's gonna be a doctor when you have a computer that can detect what is going on with you? Why would you want to go to a person? Oh, but you always need a person. Yeah, but then you need one person. So before you needed 10 doctors, now all you need is one doctor. And really, this one doctor is just an expert in working with machines, because they're already doing it. They got software that can detect breast cancer. They got software that can detect Alzheimer's or different diseases based on how people walk. Like, they got apps that can detect illnesses based on your stride. So it's like the new world is run by machines, and you need people to monitor and maintain the machines. But that's not a job that, like, if you have these machines, you don't need to pay that much. Like, those are low skill jobs to monitor a machine. There are going to be very few high skill jobs. I guess what I'm saying is that college is going to have to figure out how to be relevant. Like, colleges are going to have to figure out how to give value to the point where it justifies paying so much money. Because I would rather pay $10,000 to a business person that is already in business to be able to be mentored by this business person. I'd rather pay, XYZ to be their apprentice than pay to go to a college where I'm learning calculus, chemistry, history, when you can learn that on your own. You can learn that, you can get a tutor to teach you that. Like, I guess all I'm saying is that college is going to have to figure out how to be valuable, because 4 years to get a degree in English, what does that mean? To get a degree in anthropology, ethnic studies, liberal art, like what does it mean?
That's true.
It's challenging because, there's a pride that comes with having a college degree, and I get it. A lot of people have, feel great about completing their degrees. But what does it mean in 2021? And that's it. And then my issue with it is that the people that are getting the most propaganda, the most information about getting a college degree are minorities. Blacks and Latinos are getting this extra pressure or this extra attention when it comes to going to college. And it seems like why not focus on starting our own businesses? Let's take all this money, all these hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, and start our own businesses. And then let's go to college for fun. Let's talk about going to college when you're 25, when you can appreciate it a little bit more. Because right now, coming out of high school, college isn't appreciated. Like, I'm sure you appreciate going to college right now more than you would have if you would have gone straight out of high school. So then why not let's get our children set up financially and then send them to college. But then what you're going to realize is that ain't nobody going to be wanting to go to college when they're set up financially, because then what's the purpose of college? Well, it should be to educate you, but if it's not educating you, then what's its purpose?
What is it doing?
And then like what I'm saying with technology now, like everything that you're learning right now, since you're not paying it, it's cool. But if you had to come out of pocket $2,000, $3,000 a semester, like, would it be worth it? I don't know. Because you're reading all these books now for free, right? You're reading all these books for free. You could technically pay for a tutor to help you in the areas that you're not so strong in. So why would you pay $3,000 a semester? And that's on the low side, if you go to like a state college. But why would you pay when you can educate yourself for free? And the most educated people didn't go to college. Like back in the day when college wasn't a thing, most people would self-educate. They'd read and they'd be apprentices and they'd self-educate. But I guess all I'm saying is that the world is changing, and it's important. Like, I didn't want to get caught off guard anymore. So I've been trying to figure out where is the world going and trying to think from that position and work my way backwards. And all I could say is that the world is changing. Unemployment is going to be high because we have all these computers that are taking the jobs of people, and colleges haven't figured that out yet. In my experience, colleges are not prepared to help humans compete with technology.
That's true. It's the truth in some different areas. And everyone have their own different perspectives and their own beliefs and different things like that. But I feel like in my heart, college is going to benefit me in the long run for me. Am I more dedicated to it now than I would have been when around my high school age? Of course, definitely. That's why I'm sticking my all to it. And that's why I'm definitely like, even with the books that I'm reading and stuff, like I'm really, really preparing myself. So when I get into my courses and I get 3 chapters thrown at me, like I don't know how to handle that. You know what I mean? Like I'll be able to keep up with speed and I'll be able to keep it all together and stuff like that. So, but it's true though, when you think about it, like the typical age, like right around high school, when they get out of high school, they don't really want to go to college. They don't care to know nothing about college. They're introduced by it by either their parents, maybe their grandparents, or their loved ones and stuff.
And a lot of them become depressed adults because they spend 4 years in college and 3 years in medical school, or they become a lawyer and then they're sad. They don't feel fulfilled. But either way, I don't think anything is a waste, because life is relatively long. And however, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have a resentment about going to college, meaning they're going to feel like, oh man, I made the wrong choice. You know,
Mhm.
even though I think that you can learn from going, like, yes, college is about learning, but it has nothing to do with working. And I think that's my main thing. Like, college isn't about getting you a job. It's not preparing you to survive in the market out here. Like, college is is giving you information, is teaching you information, like trivia, meaning things that you're learning. But does that learning translate into a happy life? No. Does that learning translate into productivity? You know, not in most cases. Now, granted, schools are gonna have to adjust, and some schools do it better than other, but you know, that's gonna be the next thing, is what school does it best.
Mhm. It is typically different everywhere you go, but
When
like you
when
said,
schools can employ their students, then that's a college. But if schools can't employ their own students, then
majority of the individuals like the college I go to, like the professors and stuff, they went to that school.
well, that's the only way they're gonna be able to survive. But then what happens when
Yeah,
you don't
they
have
went to
enough
that school.
positions for all your students? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
they colleges are gonna have to adjust and get into the market, and show that what they're teaching is valuable to the market, you know, by creating businesses and then employing their own students in these businesses. Either way, you know, like,
It's gonna be like a big. It's gonna be like a big drastic change that is not gonna be the same. It's gonna be different to everyone. It's gonna be something that is gonna be needed to be adapted to. And I'm
I'm
very, very
prepared.
thankful for the situation that I'm in, because when COVID started and all that stuff happened, like, it's been a huge change throughout the world. And I thank God to this day that, the change didn't really affect me in a way to the point where I'm like totally messed up. You know what I mean? Like, I got an apartment. I'm still in school. I work remotely, a few days out of the week and stuff, but it helped me to spend time and to get more comfortable with online learning. So I'm okay with that. But, a lot of people, it took a drastic effect on. Some people, they've lost a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, we're
Through the
becoming
COVID.
dependent on the government to make it through these stimulus checks and tax returns, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and what happens if that changes? You know, that's when then this safety net will be removed. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we as a society going to remove this safety net? I don't think so.
I don't think so, but it'll probably be like to the point where, like, certain requirements, different things of that nature. But as far as they getting removed, I don't think I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that.
Maybe not in 5 years, but in 10 and maybe 15, yeah, the safety nets might not exist anymore. Because in the same, everyone is gonna have to prove their worth.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, that's what, in my opinion, what's happening is, as technology increases, everyone's gonna have to prove their worth. Colleges are gonna have to show why they're valuable, and if they can't show why they're valuable, then they're gonna lose. Politicians have to show that they're valuable. If they can't show they're valuable, they're gonna lose. So
Mm-hmm.
you have, people gonna have to prove that they're valuable, you know, and then that creates changes. But, we're talking way into the future, not much into the future, but this is future talk that makes some people uncomfortable, because you know it's something that they haven't been thinking about, because things have been the same for so long
They
that,
so used to like what's been going on, like the past,
yeah, and you bet
like
on
they
it.
just so used to talking. Like, I just sometimes when I hear people talking about the past and they continuously talk about it, I just don't have nothing to say because my interest is in the future. So I just don't like indulge in it. I don't have like no talk for it because it's the past. And I'm talking about the past and like, have you ever been around someone and they just tell these same old stories about the past. And I just be wanting to say, shut the up, but like they just said, like, have you ever been around somebody or just anywhere and then you didn't heard them tell the story
Yeah,
no
but they suffering is what
times.
it is. I know exactly what you're talking about. That happens to people, especially before they dying. Like, you know, I'm being serious. Like, so I used to work in HIV, so I know what I'm talking about. Like, they got this recorder, and they saying about
Yeah.
the same thing, and it's over and over and over. Especially some older folk or people that are really afraid of dying. That they're at that moment when they're like, you know, concerned when they're like in survival mode. They're trying to communicate the same stories like that, and then they
Like they
get
just
stuck.
tell you the same thing. And I'll be wanting to say, you bring up anything about the future, the conversation will not continue about the future. It will go back to that story if that person is nearby. So I just don't even indulge in it. Like I'll just try to put my mind somewhere else because I can't like it go through one ear and out the other. Like I can't get jiggy with it. Now you got somebody that come in the room and they talking about, the future 6, 7 years from now, or they goals, or let's talk about goals, or like what you got, like where do you see yourself in a few months? Like I can jump into that conversation. I have no issue with jumping into that conversation. Well, I have all of my goals organized and let out. Probably not right off the bat or anything like that, but it gives me a sense of being able to, to communicate with them because we're on the same page. And that's just me.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about nobody and how especially complaining about the past. You know what I mean? Like complaining. Because sometimes people will have to generally tell a story about the past to relate them to the future. And those kind of talks, I don't have an issue with listening to. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just the person who always have to dig
Stuck.
deep in the past and continue to talk about the past without it leading to the future. I can't get jiggy with.
Yeah, but those people are stuck and they're suffering. Um, you know, so I'm compassionate for them. But a lot of times, once when that recorder
Mm-hmm.
um has been playing for some years, it's unless something major happens, they're stuck. So they can't be helped. They need to want to be helped. And it's the recorder doesn't allow them to hear anything because they just on that recorder. um but I'm here to help those individuals, because even people that talk about the past can contribute to the future. um Now we need to deal with them a little bit differently, but they ultimately are suffering. That's what it comes down
That's
to
what
it.
you think it is. Like they're suffering. Like,
Yeah. I mean, you're stuck on the past. You've been traumatized. You got
mm,
traumatized. Something happened that got you stuck on the past, you know? And even when you think about the future a lot, we've been traumatized. We hoping for a better, brighter future. But we
mm-hmm.
live in a society that that's what I said, young people are gonna switch it all up. Now, why do you think we're on Gen Z? Like it's no accident. Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. Then what happens after Z? You start all over, you reset. That's where we at. We're at the reset. The last generation, Gen Z, and we got Generation One coming here.
Mm-hmm.
So um, this new generation with technology are gonna be able to live in the moment, and that makes adults uncomfortable because that means they're not thinking about the future. But they don't have to think about the future. They can just think about this very next moment. But what
Mm-hmm.
happens is somebody's going to be thinking about the future. And whoever those individuals that are thinking about the future are going to be the ones that are going to be running the world,
Mm-hmm.
and then those are your technology companies, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, your Twitters, they are the ones. Those are like who's gonna, when Facebook comes out with Facebook University, why would you go anywhere else?
I'm laughing because you like everybody will be on Facebook.
They already on Facebook, and then Facebook gonna give you a degree. Why would you go to a regular? Why would you go to any other school when you can go to Facebook University and get a degree faster? You know, I'm not even trying to give Facebook no ideas, so forget that. Because I already thought about it. Facebook, it don't matter. The thing is, schools change.
Facebook, I hope you'll see this video.
No, they can see it. Because the thing is that your heart got to be in the right place anyway to have the answer. I can give you this is what's happening. In the future, the students pick their teachers. Like right now, when you go to college, you only got a choice between 2 chemistry teachers. That ain't the way it is in real life. In real life, there's a million chemistry teachers. And when students choose their teachers, then that means that there's gonna be a lot of teachers without a job. Because there's a lot of boring teachers out there. There's a lot of teachers that are not good teachers out there. You know how you choose the restaurants you want to go and you can give a review? Well, right now, is there such thing as giving reviews to teachers? No, it don't matter because the school already hired them and they're not going to fire them. So in the future, that's changing. Students pick their teachers. And then that means that the most popular teachers are going to have all the students. So a very small number of teachers, many students, virtually like this. They're gonna want to come learn from you, and you're gonna have 10,000 students watching and learning from you. Not at Facebook University though, but they're gonna copy.
Facebook University. That was a good one. Well, I'm gonna go there.
February 24. I called it.
I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. I got my son. I gotta take him to appointment.
Yeah.
So I will see you later. Tonight was good. And then I'm gonna get Jaden an assignment to him by tomorrow afternoon, okay?
Yeah, and let me close it real quick because today I went on a rant that was anti-college, and it got to do with leadership and fellowship. Just to tie it all together. Like we are the blind leading the blind. And what that means is we're running off of an old blueprint, and the whole system is getting reset. And new leaders are going to emerge. And these new leaders are going to give a new vision as to how we educate each other. And then this new vision is different than the old vision. And that's what this reset is all about. This great reset, it's how can we reimagine society? And at the core of society is education. But right now we have an education system that isn't working. And why isn't it working? Because there's a big gap between what Blacks, Latinos, and women and other races make. There's a big gap into who's working in what positions. Like something's happening where we're all getting educated, but it's not working for a large group of people. You know, and a large group of people coming out with debt, and they're not getting jobs in the careers of their choice. So this great reset is going to switch all that up, and new leaders are new Elon Musk is a new leader. Look, even Bill Gates didn't finish college, and he's trying to tell everybody what to do. He didn't even finish college, and now he knows everything about viruses. He knows everything about food and climate change, and he's like either way, my point is new leadership that's emerging, and it's going to be a new direction. That's what this new normal, this great reset, it's going to be new and different. And then that's going to create these new scripts that people are then going to, for the next 50 to 100 years, are going to be following, you know? So when it comes to followership, there's going to be a new way of doing things that people are going to start moving in that direction, which is going to be different than what it had been in the past. And most people haven't been paying attention. This reset caught them by surprise. And if it caught you by surprise, that means you've been paying attention to the wrong leaders. If you didn't see this coming, then you wasn't following a leader who was looking into the future. You were following a follower. And that's what this followership is about. Followerships don't have independent visions. You know, leaders have the vision and then followers follow it and they complement the leader, right? That's what we were saying before. So then if you got caught off guard by this situation, this pandemic, and the way that we're handling this pandemic and technology, then we've been following followers. And in all these businesses that are run by followers who are following followers are going out of business. There's all these businesses that are going out of business because they're not able to adapt because things change too quickly for them. And I'm speaking generally because people can say, oh, but it was COVID. Some organizations are still making it. They're adapting and they're being innovative. They're figuring it out, and others are not. You know, and then, but why would you be so mean and say, I'm not, the facts are speaking for themselves. If one person can make it, then others should be able to make it. But what's the difference between the person that made it and the person that didn't make it? And I'm going to say the difference between the person that made it and the one that didn't make it is the difference between one being a leader and the other one being a follower. And I'm not saying that being a follower is wrong, but in a moment of transition, if you're a follower and you don't got a new vision, you need to find the leader who has that new vision for you to follow their lead. So, and that's what a lot of people are struggling to do at the moment. So I just wanted to tie it all together when it comes to followership and leadership. After this great reset, this new transition, there's new leaders that are going to be emerging, that are going to be showing a new way on how to live this life out here. And those that are not able to adapt are going to be stuck in the past. They're going to be stuck talking about pre-COVID, before COVID. You know how they got BC, AD, like before Christ, before COVID. Like that's the new marker in our storyline. Does that make sense? Like, you know how they say, oh, 2,000 years before Christ, or, you know, 500 years after death. So it's going to be after reset, before COVID. You know, like this is a marker where time has been divided, and there's what happens after COVID and what happened before COVID. And the people that are stuck on before COVID are not adapting to after COVID. So they're going to be stuck in the past in the same way that the people that were before Christ, the people that couldn't see the message of Christ, right, got stuck in that paradigm, in that belief system, in that way of living that didn't give them access to, you know, if you're a Christian, you would say grace, you know. So we're at this new crossroad where you got before COVID and then you got post COVID, or after the reset. BC AR. Look, February 24, mark it. But yeah, so it's been good. You know, like always, I appreciate the conversation, and I know that I went off on a rant that is negative.
But no, you were like getting like, it's good. Like, we don't always have to agree on certain things. You know what I'm saying? But it was in a healthy way. You voiced your opinion. I voiced my opinion. You know what I mean? And it's cool like that. It would have been nice to have more people here though, because it's like a subject that you would want to hear from, like a group of different individuals colliding. So by all means, I would love to bring the topic up again when it's a few more of us.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Let's keep when we talk to people, we can bring it up. You know, so it's important. Someone's got to talk about it. You know, and I don't mind being the one to
initiate
bring it up. That's right.
All right. Let it off. Woo! Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care.
All right.
Bye. I'll let you do your. We don't gotta put no music. Just tune it out. Tune in. The Black Carrot Party presents the Real Talk Show, where we talk about friendship, love, and purpose. Friendship has everything to do with aura. Love is more, and purpose is about saving time. I am your host, Crown Jewels, and my co-host, Alexandra Blockton. So I did the intro at the end, and now you can do the outro.
We will see you tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern on February 25th.
You can't see your face, man.
We will see you tomorrow night on February 25th, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
All right.